Well, hello, everybody. How are you all? So good to see everyone. It is Tuesday, and wherever you are in the world, we hope that you're doing fine. Don't worry, the bus driver knows exactly what he's doing. As he hits that button. So we just speak favor over all of us. Nothing missing, nothing broken. That's what we do, and it works. I mean, it really does. It manifests all the freaking time. So this is what we call our little show going on, I don't know, 6-7 years. Trina, it's been a long time, but actually it seems like almost yesterday.
It does. It
Yeah.
really does. It does not seem like it's been, almost 7 years.
Yeah. It's almost like it's timeless.
It is.
Yeah.
This friendship is such a beautiful gift, and it's evolved, and the soul tribe's evolved, and we've gone through a lot of experiences as a group together.
We really have. I mean, many that were part of this group, they've transcended over. And so you can say that the soul tribe truly is a soul tribe because we transcend the barrier. I mean, if they remember us, then when we get over there, that memory will be there to greet us because they're going to say, oh, yeah, we know y'all.
They're so much bigger than what they were when they're here. But when you think of them, it creates those consciousness tunnels. I was telling you that web of consciousness. So as the thought is formed, it manifests everything in that thought tunnel. So that's how it's like calling them on the cell phone through the thought process. That's how you travel with thought when you're in the astrals and such.
And I think that's happening. Jenny, we see you there. And welcome everybody in the chat room. So much love to y'all. Thank you for being a part of this. We're actually talking about y'all is what we're talking about. And Jenny, hello. How are you, my dear?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm here.
As they would say back in my time, far out, but
I've gone and given myself a fat lip because I've been working on different things each room, and I'm pulling it down a bit of wood from a loft hatch that I've made. But that bit of wood just wasn't fitting, so I'm pulling it down and it landed smack on the lip, so I feel like I've had some work done. I feel like it's out here. I'm like,
ow, that sucks.
We send you butterfly kisses.
Like send Jenny the got to get that favor thing going, Jenny, because yeah, I mean that sucks. I mean, it really does.
It didn't hurt much, to be honest. I just felt it swelling up and thought, wow, this is how it feels to get work done. For free.
It's like, how you doing? I'm fighting the wood and the wood's winning,
But went in the fire after that, so I think I won in the end.
There you go, darling. There you go.
It was a battle, but we got it done.
I love it. And Kaz, thank you for joining us. And I'm sure y'all have heard the song that Kaz put together. And once I figure out how to put it in the intro, but anyway, it's left in the link below. So check it out for sure. So Kaz, how is things manifesting in your life these days? You have a different countenance about you, I can tell you right now.
Your aura looks wonderful.
Yeah.
I've been exploring my inner self the past few days.
What have you found?
I was speaking to my gran, right?
And
this was amazing. And I said to my nan, I was on some mushrooms, and I was having a one-to-one with my nan. And I said to my nan, you never called me Kaz, you always called me Caroline, right? And she said, well, that's because your given name is really powerful. So I always called you Caroline. And she said, use it and speak your power. So in that moment, I said, in the name of Caroline, I speak my power, and both speakers cut out.
Kaz, I am covered with the goosebumps. Like, I'm getting hit with that right now. So strong. I'm like,
out.
oh my gosh, wow.
I went, in the name of Caroline, I speak my power. And the music cut off twice and came back on again. And I was like, okay, Nan, I get you.
Bit of power.
Yeah, I get you too, Nan. Holy mackerel. Wow. Kaz, that was from my toes to my head. It's shooting out my arms. All the hair was standing up on my body.
Your name is your power. Speak it.
Yes. Wow.
I'm going to call you Caroline from now on. That's wonderful.
When in my former religion, we were taught in the book of Revelation, it talks about that the saints, when they go through this big battle and the whole thing, good and evil is conquered, that the Lord he'll give you a stone, and on that stone is your true name. And according to Jewish mysticism or beliefs, that no one can speak your name, because if you speak your name by another person, they take your power.
Absolutely.
This powerful shit, man. That's all I got to tell you. And it's amazing that Kaz, that as I look at your work as a shaman's work, because you're out there where the shaman and the shamanesses exist. And how fantastic.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, if y'all are in the chat room, how are you doing, Susie Q and Kitty and Deborah and Joyce and Jeanette and Jargo, Mary, and for all of y'all, this is powerful stuff. And I just want to say thank you to that, that universal consciousness, whatever it is, because this weekend is really something that I was challenging this consciousness in exact this thing. You see, I come out of a religion where you spoke in the name of Jesus and I could do freaking anything. I was fucking Superman. And the women were Wonder Women because we had so much faith in that name.
Yep.
And the thing about it is, pardon that, hon?
That's all it is. It's absolute week in, week out conditioning of this is your power, but this is how you use it, and this is the name you use it in. If you're getting that done to you as a child, as in like Caroline's Nan said quite rightly, that this is your power, this is your name, Bingo. This is why I call you it every day. It's the same thing. It's not because it's any more powerful or any more real at all. It's just made real in the consciousness through conditioning of consistency telling you. But of course they're using a middleman with the Jesus thing rather than
what I see Jesus as to me? This is what I've always seen it. I've always been shown it. He's us. And when I see that, I see me and my shadow. And I see them merging. He's us, and it's all of our shadows, and it's all of our physical avatars, and it's the collapsing of the two together in this infinite connection. And to me, that's what the Jesus thing, I think that's why I see the power of it, because I see that it does something, but it's not what people think it is, but it's a true thing or it wouldn't work. So there's a conundrum with this whole thing. But I think it's he's us, and it's bringing the dual of you, which is spirit and soul, and it manifests.
John, we love you, John Price. Ladies, say hi to John Price.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
There you go, John. You see, we love you.
Like Marilyn Monroe.
So, just giving you a high five. Rick says, smoking the herb. Hey, listen. Don't bogart the joint, man. Pass it.
Yeah, I think there's something to this Peter Pan stuff, guys. I think Peter Pan's got a secret. We got to figure this out.
So I'll just finish this thought, because you see, this is what's my conundrum. And in fact, y'all, I think it was you, Jenny, that said the word conundrum. Whoever said it, that was the exact word I was using in my meditative time. It's like the conundrum is that I have been able to see power used in a psychic way. And by the way, this is a great plug. Tomorrow I'm going to have Ryder Lee on, and we're going to be talking about cults.
Oh.
Particularly the world's largest blood cult that claims to have nearly 4 billion people that are a part of it.
Wow.
So anyway, so that was what I was saying. I've seen it. I mean, I've used it myself. It's true magic. I mean, if magic is altering what either reality or material substance is, because if I have faith, I can call those things that be not as though they are.
Yeah. And
tell me how that's not witchcraft. Tell me how that is not master alchemy.
You know what, though, Wayne? It's all of the above, but what if it's just simple laws of the universe we yet don't understand because we forgot?
Well, that's what magic is.
That's what I mean. I think this is all just normal, innate. These are the abilities that we should have been able to do and master at age 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's exactly the same, though, in that I think because of labels, we get a little bit sidelined and a little bit sort of distracted and lost in the argument. Because if I put you in a gym right now with a really good personal trainer, and they were saying, in the name of Wayne, you're going to pull this car, pull this car, pull this car, like the way the churches do, in the name of Jesus, we're going to fill you with the blood. And, they're doing all of the shaking, they're doing all of the moving, they're doing all of the pulling, propelling, and championing you on. Then it doesn't matter if you're in a gym, a church, a school, you can be inspired to do things that the physical body never dreamt it could do, that the spirit never dreamt it could do. It's just about putting yourself with tribe and people that are able to say, pull this damn car, you can do it. You can do it, and clap when you do it. That's where the magic is. The magic isn't Christianity or gym work, fitness work, or pulling people out of fires work. It's a force within us that can be, put together with encouragement to draw out a conclusion, a result, and I think we give too much power to the different labels that claim this magic, when, like Trina says, it's universal magic that can be pulled from you with the right elements within you and around you, No,
I and that's my point, is that, as I was talking over the weekend to someone, I said, I've been a master magician, a wizard, for decades. Never realized it.
Didn't you know?
It's like, what? I mean, and that goes that idiom, I'm trying to get into a room that I'm already in.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
you're born into
it.
You're just realizing that the wizard was you, and it wasn't the religions. It was you, and it was the faith of the people that you were working with. It wouldn't have mattered if you called it Purple Dinosaur Mark. It wouldn't have mattered what it was. It wouldn't have mattered what it was. It was about the belief of the power of the unified manifestation of the will, of your power and your will. I'm going to command it to be, and I'm going to believe it will be, and I'm going to manifest it that way. And it did. It showed up.
Bubba, stop. Yeah, it like laying on of hands. We'd always do it, in the name of Jesus, I command you. But the thing about it is, and it's interesting, I'm just snapping to that. I command you.
Yes, I.
Not Jesus, not some other name, but it was always I commanded you.
You know what I was thinking the other day, Wayne? I wonder what would happen if we say, I am. I am.
There's a cult by the name, the I am cult.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's not good.
Wait till you, oh man, that ain't cool either, man. Hey, Hadley, how you doing, dear?
They're learning everything good and making it bad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Kaz, getting back to this experience. So and I love that because this is what, this is what Gnosticism wisdom is about. It's when someone gets that ethereal input, it blows up in the rest of our consciousness because we identify with it. Now you got people asking, so what is my power name? What is that name?
It's your birth-given name, isn't it?
I would say if you knew what it was, you better never utter it. And I don't think it can be spoken with a human voice.
Oh,
I think it has to be
my
spoken.
name's like an echo. It's always been an echo.
I've seen it as a sound that makes geometry, and the angels speak it, but you are an angel. You have the ability. So when you drop your flesh, you're going to be with that consciousness, and that language is with you if you choose it to be. But that I saw it as a like a living word, but it's not I couldn't say it. I couldn't say it. There's no way. What, Cass?
That's what speaking in tongues does.
No, Wayne, no, you couldn't speak these sounds.
No, I'm not saying that, but that the whole thing behind speaking in tongues is that you're speaking the light language.
That's the Holy Spirit. That's just...
Well, whatever you want to call it, whatever spirit it is. I don't know. What's one Holy Spirit what makes one spirit holy and another not?
What if it's just the essence of your origin and we're all connected at the base foundational level? So that's a language that we all understand from a higher level of consciousness, of oneness. But it's
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they say that when you pass over, you realize we're all connected to one another.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I was having this debate with someone, and I said, when people say the Lord, and I said, the problem is with that is that they're mixing theologies up because they're using a term that was an Old Testament term back in days where lordship was important.
Taken that lordship isn't important today and used today to
control. Say it still is.
But see, the point is they knew they weren't addressing God when they said the Lord. Yeah. Right. And the problem is the modern theology today, the dogma is that people interchange that word for New Testament, Old Testament belief systems, and they combine them as one. And they're not.
Wayne, that was my
They're distinctly different.
That was how the serpent came all into my consciousness, was thinking that thought. It's like, what is the Lord? I started doing a lot of searching on legal stuff. And I kept seeing lords, and I was like, whoa, this is a title. This is a title. So I've been working with the Lord my whole life. What's this Lord thing? Oh my gosh, is this a contract in a fake land of illusions? And then when I realized that was when I was like, if all of this is fake, I rebuke it all, because I will not.
You just drive my point to this gentleman and his wife that I was talking to, and they couldn't argue after they thought about it, because I said, you assume the Lord to be Jesus, God's right-hand person. I said, but that's not true. I said, because in the Old Testament, that didn't exist. There was no Jesus. There was no consciousness of Jesus. The Lord was in the strictest case of a slave mentality to servitude. The Lord requires you. It's not the supreme. It's not God. And I said, so here you're saying the Lord, but what Lord are you speaking of? That was my point. And they walked away confused.
Warlord, aren't they?
Pardon, hon?
They're speaking of the warlord that's still going on today, particularly in the UK, Caroline. I'm going to smile every time I say that now. Can attest to that lordships are super important still, and backhand deals are still being done by the sitting king now to give lordships to the likes of people from Saudi Arabia. That So these lordships, when you're speaking out these words like Jesus, Lord, they're code to hook into the law that has been created. Law is written in Latin, the same, it's derived from all things, but biblical. But then the biblical term, like you said, Wayne, is duplicated, manipulated, and edited to keep the old style framework of the day that it was supposedly written in, and bending it to the will of those in power, lordships. And the House of Lords is one of the most important houses in the UK, and therefore a lot of other countries. It's where all of the decisions over law is created. So when we're speaking to those lords, that's who we're given compact and contract to. We're not speaking to any lord that could speak of to be connected to the God that they say that they're speaking to, because that's not what it's derived from. It just isn't.
No, I get it. And it's elegantly put, because that's the problem. You've got, in the United States here particularly, you have people who believe is that God has blessed the United States, but their whole thing is that they couldn't tell you which God it is. They'll just simply refer to the God which generally goes with the Bible. They don't realize that the Bible has many different gods in it.
Yeah. And the monotheistic one only came in because one king wanted to rule.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah. And in my, it's a strong spell is what it is, because when you've got so many people that associate the Lord throughout their belief system, when it's really not, you confuse them when you bring out the true essence of what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The guy looked at me and he says, so just who have I been giving my wife and my kids? Who have we been giving our whole allegiance to? I said, I have no clue.
That's right. Good question.
That's what he said.
Yep.
He says, you've just pointed out to me that when I read, he says, when I read now the 23rd Psalm, he said, I can't see it as Jesus, as the Lord, the Good Shepherd. I said, spooky, isn't it?
And it is like coming out of a domestically violent relationship for people who have that realization, that dawning moment of, wow, I've been literally giving my heart, giving my allegiance, giving my power to something that was made up of an illusion, made up of, and it was sold to me on the status of, this is family, this is a loving place, this is a truthful place, an honorable place. So you see people's hurt and pain when they have that realization of, shit, where did all of that energy
I felt bad
go
for him.
Yeah.
They started the conversation, and and Lynn said, well, and I said, well, I go by the belief that when the student's ready, then the knowledge will come.
Absolutely.
So obviously they were seeking something. I don't know what it was. I just know that they walked away very disillusioned.
Mm-hmm. They'll need to process it and take time and see where those seeds that you planted grow, and process again.
And I know this couple is they were, and I'm sure they still are, very much Bible believing family, but now he says, I got to ask myself
a lot of
what's
questions.
going on. Yeah, a lot of questions. Yeah.
You know what? Confusion patterns are the greatest tool for healing and breaking mind control programs. So you just gave them a gift, and whatever they utilize with it, that's completely up to their soul, and that's okay. But you did give them an opportunity to break free out of the cage through a confusion pattern, which is a gift, and it's not doing anything to them other than scrambling their brain enough to give them an opportunity to go down a different neural pathway.
Yeah. I guess that's part of the theme today, being diligent about changes, because so often each and every one of us, and I look at everyone in the chat room, those who are listening, if you're involved in this, frequency, then you are those changers. You're the agent of change.
We're the rebel genes.
Yeah, we are. I mean, Kaz, I still think it's remarkable when you spoke in the power of your name.
Yes.
Well, it's taking control.
Yeah.
I mean,
just when the speakers went pop. It's like
Hadley says,
I felt it. I'm telling you, through from another.
oh, I was seeing both of you gals. I mean, it was like, whoa.
Powerful. Powerful. When you started saying it, the hairs on my arms all started standing up. I was like, whoa, what? And then you started saying the power of my name. And then I was like, my whole body went. I was like, wow. I haven't had like a big, that powerful. Just
yeah. Wow. I had this mental image of Kaz having this fire hose, you know. It's not the garden hose, it's a freaking fire hose, man. It's like, woo, all right. And I mean, you know, the spirits tremble when a mortal, which I was told. Can I read y'all something?
Yeah,
sure.
Please do.
So the dragon came and visited me on Saturday morning, and this is what the dragon told me. Dragon said, do you realize how unique and special it is that you are in this realm and everybody else that is with you in this realm is? I said, no. Said that think about the people, the natural pregnancies that end in miscarriage. I mean, there's millions of them. Then you think about the other way that, you know, the other option that societies offer. The dragon said that those were souls that tried to get in and experience this. And it says that each one of us represent what would be the equivalency of 100 million billion quadrillion souls.
Wow.
It's so, I can't express this, and my mind was just the imagery that was coming. Folks,
yeah.
There are so many in the other realms that want to have this manifestation, this experience. And each and every one of us will eventually be teaching others what your experience was like in this realm, because they'll never be able to experience. Now, the dragon went on to say that so many of us are teachers and experiencers. We come here to experience and then share those experiences with others in the other realms. The earth can hold trillions of souls. However, this has never been. One must ask themselves why. The controllers are controlling those who come in and those who don't. This is significant according to what this dragon spoke to me. Yes. It says that your life experience will be shared with those others who desperately want to experience what we call Earth. That's what I got.
That's beautiful. That's amazing.
I think it's so true. Earth is a cradle of civilizations. It's a cradle. It's a young consciousness, like a child giving birth. It's a new adventure. I think that's why the first card in our arcana is the Fool. It's that innocence. It's that I just want to go and explore. And yeah, this is a treasure to be in Earth. Is a very precious gift.
He says there's no reincarnation. No, he says you get one time through this realm and one time only. Now, he said that you may, it's not it, I don't know what to express it as, but that we blend our experiences with others that are in our tribe.
That would resonate with me.
And
I feel different fractals of me, but
yeah,
never clear lifetimes.
That's why we all don't go to the same place.
Yes. Yes.
Many of us may be in the same realm, but there's no guarantee. We will be united with, which as the dragon tells me, it's identified in us. Yeah. Anyway, that was what my Saturday morning was like. What's that, dear?
No, just a regular Saturday morning.
Just,
hanging
out on the deck,
just getting downloads that change the universe. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing big deal. But now
sorry, go on.
No, go ahead, hon.
That's such a beautiful experience with the dragon, but it is. Can I tell you something I did the other night in the bath that would sort of speak to the dragon? That saying how sagas are so important because we pass on these messages. And I know my ancestors, the importance of sagas and song and poetry was very important to pass on the stories of people that they'd come across, so that others knew the name of, this person or that person, or the conquest, or what they'd grown on their land, magical tales, because then it would get passed down generation to generation. And we've lost that a lot, which is why groups like this are so important and so lovely, because we're passing on these sagas. But I was in the bath and I'd done like an oil cleanse and whatnot. So I'd done meditation and stuff, but I was still deep in it, but active in it, doing the oil cleanse. And this is the kind of thing I'll often do, in that I thought, be great to have some company now. And then I snapped out of it and felt all of these energies literally joining in with me, watching, experiencing, just because I was experiencing touching my skin and anointing it with oil and speaking love into it. And I ended up dancing in the bath, which isn't unusual. But, I felt like I was truly dancing in a tribe of people, just moving. And I felt the flow of so many people I couldn't count, observing me and me observing them. And I think that's really lovely when you can connect into, like the dragon says, those moments where you don't have to, you get more into the spirit, where you're not looking at the physical, and you feel actually that you're constantly transferring sagas and energy and stories to build the tapestry, to build the experience, to be the teacher.
Yeah.
So
that's beautiful. The anointing of oil, that's powerful. I mean, Ryder and I were talking about, and tomorrow's discussion should be really profound. It's used in, well, a lot of people don't know this, but in the Old Testament, every king was anointed with oil. And with that anointing came special privileges and powers that were associated with that office.
Yeah. My mum always anointed me with oil every night. She always put oil on mine and my brother's
Bingo.
And it was her oil, like mine. She infused her own oil, with her own herbs. And it's just passed down. So my kids are quite used to me dotting oil on them, or flicking it on William from a distance because he doesn't like it so much. But I get it on them because it's an important thing. It's an important process because you speak into the oil, you speak into the properties as you're putting them in the oil, and there's heat involved, there's time involved, and love. And that oil carries deep into the skin, so it is an important symbolic and physiological thing that is good for you.
When I was called into the ministry, they anointed us with oil, but literally anointed us with oil, and people laying hands on you, all of them speaking in tongues, and it's quite supernatural. It truly is. I mean, and as I believe, I think that's what people look for. People want to experience the supernatural.
Yes, because they know it's something they forgot.
Yes.
They know
Thank
they
you.
want to remember. They want to remember, and they know there's something inside them that knows. And they're like, why can't I experience this? Because I know. And that's it. That's what was with me my whole life. I knew. I'm like, where is it? I know it's here. Where is it? I can't remember. What was I looking for?
Cass, I find you, and I sense in my spirit that your journey is really in many ways just beginning.
Yeah, she's like
I really sense that you've opened up, some would use the term chakra. You've opened up a channel within you that I think as you continue to experience they're aware of you, and they being very friendly. I mean, they look for people that are willing to take that step that that souls such as us do. I'll just leave it at that, So what have you now, Casso? This is a question I have for you. So you found this power. So what have you done with it?
Well, the other night, it wasn't anything to do with speaking my name, but I just felt the urge to go outside, and because I do the CE5 thing, yeah, and I just felt the urge. It was sort of like something was calling me. So I went outside, and the instant I looked up, there was flash in the sky, and I was like, hi, I knew it. And just like, yeah, just stuff like that has been happening.
So I'm just here blown away by that. I just got to interject in here. So it's exactly what I sensed. And I didn't know you were experiencing that. They're aware of you now.
I do. I've been experiencing it for years. I just didn't realize I was doing it.
And the dragons love you, don't they, Caroline? The dragons love you, don't they? You've had a close connection with dragons.
The dragons have been around me because I ate 3 massive heads of my mushrooms I grew the other day.
I love this
and
gal.
I just thought, I'm going for it, yeah. Because I start work soon, so this is it. I'm going to go deep within. And I tell you what, the visuals were out of this world. The whole layers of colours upon layers of colours, and the movement, I was just like, put your seatbelt on, kid. You know what I mean?
Oh, down the water.
I love this.
It was like stage trippy little hippie.
I love this.
Awesome.
And that's when I connected with my nan. I was talking to the photo because I've got me, my mum and my nan sort of on the shelf. And the picture of me and my nan, I've got my arm around her in Ibiza where I lived. And it was the last day I saw her. She needed to see me before she passed. She passed that year, once she'd see me in the flesh. And that's when it just occurred to me she'd never called me Kaz. And that's when I asked her, it just occurred to ask her, and that's when she said, use your power. Yeah. And I haven't actually put it into motion yet, but I'm going to.
You have been putting it into motion.
Yeah.
The whole universe has been feeling that. You have. Just by going outside, doing what you were doing, stopping the speakers, all of that is like imprinted on the universe.
The speakers, it sort of startled me because it was bang on the word. I speak my power, and they went.
You took its power.
I mean, you could. I bet you, if you had an EMF meter, that damn thing was probably maxing out.
And then I kept going, in the name of Caroline. Like I was walking around the house going, I speak my power. I was getting really excited.
Well, Cass, if it hadn't been for you, I would have never been introduced to dragons.
No, right.
Really? Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Wow. Think about we go back now 3-4 years, and what really longer than that. See,
8 years.
8.
Yeah.
Like what? It seemed like yesterday. That's all I got to say. It just seems like yesterday. It's just, this is family. I mean, and with family, time passes, but yet it doesn't. It's like it's family. But anyway, the pictures you captured of the dragon in the sky, that was just like that. That
And
spoke
you
to me.
know that picture with the one with the black?
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the CE5, that also reminds me of when they can manifest in and out of reality, of what's things like Stephen Gray has been capturing.
Mm-hmm. That's what
Stuff. And
she's
I've got,
referring to, folks, is the
yeah,
I got a
CE5.
couple that's going to come on. They were involved when that hurricane hit Southern California, and the one guy is in rescue work and was quite busy, but anyway.
Yeah. And I've
Yeah.
got, I think I've got a lot of stuff on video on my channel that is already part of that CE5. I just didn't realise at the time I was connecting with them,
I believe this. I mean, I we have really, really smart people that watch this channel, and we have one woman particularly. She is a professional psychologist. She has a practice, and she wrote and she said, I find it fascinating when you talk about your experiences on hallucinogenics. She says, because it literally rewired your brain.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's interesting, Wayne, the past, I'd say few months, this has not happened once. This happens often. I feel something coming over my house and you can hear it. And it is a very strange sound. It is not a jet. It is not propulsion. I don't know what this sound is. It's kind of like,
we're getting that over here.
It's big. It's big, and I can feel it. And I can feel it, and it crosses over my house, and I can feel it keep going. I can feel it. It comes and it goes. I feel it over my home. And I was like, you guys hear that? And they're like, yeah. I was like, what is that? They're like, I don't know. And then it goes away. But there's something big coming over my house like frequently, and it's going through the valley. And I'm wondering if it's coming out of the Air Force Base, or I mean, I don't know. I just have a feeling it might be. So I can't see anything though. There's nothing to see.
Do you have any marks on your body that you haven't?
I've been having that weird shit go on my whole life, and I mean it's pretty small, but little stupid things like little tiny dots and triangles and weird stuff. But I think the major stuff, I think that might have been going on in my childhood, but for some reason I don't think they like fighting with me, so I think they stopped.
Well, here's a weird thing. I think all of us, this is just my thing, but we're attracted by this energy, this group of people that I think many of us have been contacted.
Not only, they told me that we were brought in with the technology born in us. They told me we were born with it. They made sure we were born with it. And if
mine was rock and roll.
They put it in the day we were delivered. So, yeah. So we were born with it.
As my wife tells me, she says, you've expanded my knowledge of music. That's where I come from. My planet, it's rock and roll, baby. Then we also got some Mozart over here. Got a little smooth jazz, little country, and a whole lot of rock and roll. Hey, Jenny, how you doing?
I was singing in my head there, didn't you?
I felt that thing. I was like,
I was jamming out in my head when you said that.
Well, that's what I was actually feeling. It was like this, like Trina was like going, woo, woo, woo. And it's
Sometimes
like, okay.
I've got to control it. But that noise that Trina's talking about, I've had things hover over the house before. I've had stuff like that, but I remember putting out readings a while ago now where I was saying there's this big deal about this invisible technology, particularly that Iran had at the time. In Tehran, it was coming up, and I remember it was like a remote view type quest I was on where I could sort of see this plane, but not, you could see the outline of it in the hangars at certain angles, but not in the other. And it was basically like it was like a magnetized thing that actually the magnets were disturbing the visual field around it to make it invisible. And so that came to mind when Trina was talking about it, 'cause a few times I've run out of the house thinking, is that plane really low? Because we're on the airport line, like we get a lot of planes coming over because we're direct line to the airport, not far away. And so it could be. And a few times I've gone out to look to think, there's something really going to happen here. Nothing's there to see, not even craft or anything that I've seen before.
Video of one that I've took, and I could feel there's something directly above me, and it's taken with my digital night vision, but in the daytime, because you can use it as a day camera video. And when I point it up, there's these big brown balls above my head that it captures with the digital recording, and you can see these round, huge balls above my head. I'll have to send you it, Wayne. You can have a look.
I'd love to see it.
Someone
said,
we saw something it looked like almost like Starlink one night, but it wasn't Starlink. These were independent balls of light. They were moving away from each other, separating, not as perfect that, it wasn't locked. It was floating and moving. And where I hear this sound in the sky was where we saw these lights. And I didn't see him first. A Christian did. And he ran in the house. He goes, look in the backyard. Look what you see in the sky. I've been watching it driving home. He says, I've never seen anything like this. And it literally looked like a portal, because these lights would come out of the nothingness, and then they would all travel one after another, not perfectly equally spaced, but they were moving. And then they would get this other point in the sky and they would disappear. And this is the same place I hear the woo, 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 woo. And then it stays there for a while, and then it's just boom, gone. So it's so strange. Lost in Space has been hearing this. Chloe's been hearing this. A lot of people have been hearing this. So I think, I don't know what's
the
going
low
on.
frequency hum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can feel its magnetic power. You can feel it. It's like I feel it before I hear it, and then I hear it, and then I sense it. And I keep wanting to go into it, but my consciousness keeps warning me. So I haven't gone into what is this. I think it's something not good, because my consciousness says I wouldn't do that if I were you. So whatever's in that thing, I don't think it's happy.
If you can hear it and feel it, it's not. It's actually our planet. It's our man-made stuff.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. They're like, don't go in there, because they were like, I wouldn't.
The big ones, you can't hear or see or feel them.
Yeah, right. And if you do, you feel excited or curious, but your defense system doesn't go
invited. You don't feel bad.
Yeah. Whatever this is creepy. I don't like it.
It's messed up, man. That's all I got to.
Use your discernment. They say to use your discernment.
This realm. I mean, if the others are like this one, I mean, I swear when I came in, I saw the realm coming in, and it says, "Get ready, man. This is the realm of make believe, and you don't know what to believe." And I didn't believe it, and now here I am, and now I mean, with it. And I'll just lay this out. There is tremendous change taking place. And I mean, I wish I could say that it was all, lollipops, unicorn, and cotton candy, but I don't see it that way. There is a presence that's here, and I don't know and it's weird, because it's the ones that I consider that don't ever come down our paths. In other words, they'll look at us and they'll go, those are some weird people. Of course, that's what we're saying. But anyway, it feels like there is something that's forcing a change, I guess is the word. And I don't like the energy of it.
The energy is coming, and no matter what, they can't stop it. So they're trying to direct it into the funnels and conscious thought channels that they want it to go into. So Absolutely. There is a battle right now over consciousness. They want to control what you think about these things. And there is not just dark, bad ones, there's beautiful, benevolent ones. So, but all they want us to see is the angry, ugly ones, pretty much, that they've made them all themselves. So they're trying to project fear into our thoughts about these issues, when everything is going to have a bad boy, is going to have a good one too. It's always going to have perfect polarity. So if you're in the frequency of it, say, if you're not benevolent and you're not in my positive vibration, just keep on going, pass on by. But if you are of loving, benevolent light and want to support and help humanity, oh, please come down. Let's have coffee.
Well, speaking of that, so I'm reading in the chat room, Regine Huddleston says, abundant life, good favor to all of us. Need y'all to send good restoration wishes, going through shoulder and arm physical therapy, ice wrapped around arm, and it's uncomfortable. Well, we're going to just send it to you right now, darling. I mean, it's an energy gift. I mean, Kaz, you know about that. It works. Jenny?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Well, I mean, and you know, so I'm just seeing it that, you know, the whole shoulder area. And when I like to see it, I always like to see it that it's emanating this warmth. You know, as the warmth begins to get concentrated, it calms the nerves and allows the body to do what it does best and heal itself. So there you go.
So it is. So it is. And I think from what Trina was saying there is that we've got to be so full of wisdom and pragmatic as well, in that there is forced change happening and a hijack of the energies. I've always seen energy, the matrix, like people who want to control others, whether they're millionaires or lowly people just wanting to control people around them. You build a circuit board for good or bad, and you can bridge that energy. You know which current's coming through there, but you can sort of subvert that energy and hijack it, you know, and bring it around in a different direction, you know, according to your will, by adding a blocker or a channel or a connector point, can't you? And you can use that energy, you can ride it. Ultimately, also is the end story game of like, there's something big happening now, and it's never happened before. These energies keep bursting through here all of the time. They're ebbing and flowing like waves all of the time. And the end story, the end line, the winners of light thing really does get people stuck in that cycle of it continuing to have your energy subverted, because this has been happening for a long time. And you've only got to look up of things like that really make it dawn on you that way back in Paris, they were driving around on electric scooters that were free, that went around the whole city. And now these new electric scooters, but they're not using even as good technology and as clean technology as Paris, France was that way back then. And so it's all an illusion, and they have us on this temporary cycle of the end winning goal, because that keeps people in the game. It keeps people tied into the church, or it keeps people voting for a political figure. I think people, you know, we've really got to be careful to not think that this has never happened before, and this is bigger than the last 10 years ago revival of this energy. You know,
they were speaking the end times back in 1920s. They went through a depression, then a world war, concentration camps, millions of people dying. We haven't faced anything like that today. By the way, hello, David Barry. How are you, brother? Haven't seen you in a long time.
Oh,
wow.
My gosh,
yeah, much love to you, brother. Yeah. But you're right, Jenny. I was fortunate to know Grandma Rose, and she was a survivor of Auschwitz. And, you know, I keep shaking my head. I keep telling folks, you know, they talk about how bad it is. And I said, you have no idea how bad can be. You know, so it's a matter of perspective, keeping it in perspective. We don't have to go down this road of destruction. I tell people that all the time. It doesn't have to be that. Someone told me, nope, it's in the Bible. You know, God said this is what it was going. And I said, no. Murder is murder. God cannot be a God if it resorts to murder.
Wayne, they're going to experience it because they believe it.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that.
They're going to believe it and they're going to see it. But you know what? We're not going to see what they see. It won't happen that way. Your frequency, your projection out of your avatar won't create what they're going to create. But they believe it. They believe it so much, they're going to see what they believe. So
you see, I reject their reality and replace it with mine.
Well, then you're
pass the mushrooms there, would you, Cass?
You are that powerful. Yes, we are that powerful.
We are that powerful.
That's right.
It's true. Yes. What a powerful show. I just got to tell you, this has just been off. Cass, what you brought in, I believe, is going to, for us collectively as a group, think about this. I mean, and I was dreaming this the other night, where there's two or more gathered, they can bind or loose anything. And I'm thinking to myself, we've got a regular group of, well, about 200, 300 people every time we're on. Come here.
You know what I saw when Jenny was talking about the bathtub and how she was dancing? Mm-hmm. I literally got another DMT hit that was so big it covered my whole body again. I was like, and they dance. And I literally saw all of us. We do this all the time. We just don't remember. But when we can't physically see each other, we're joining in spirit and we dance and we have a lot of fun, guys. So this is going to be how we do it, because it has to be in the energy first, and then it physically will manifest. So let's dance. Let's join together intentionally with our spirits as often as possible and combine and hold hands and clear and move energy on this planet where it needs to be cleared and moved. Help process the pain and trauma for the lost souls that are stuck in the soil. Everywhere we go, everywhere we touch, it just has a healing effect through dance, music, motion, and love. So yeah, let's do this. And it starts in the etheric, and then it will physically manifest. And if we do this well, we will be together before we know it. Physically.
So I see this, and exactly what I'm saying. I drew it out. There is this circle, but there is this light. It could be a flame, but those of us who are in the circle and dancing, we're not in physical form, but we're actually in what one would call almost kind of a mist. And
like in the bath, yeah, you could feel.
That's what I'm seeing. It's just as more people join, it gets brighter and it becomes more intense. It expands.
Yeah, it's so big.
All right. Wow, man, I am. Jeanette says the let us dance. Let us dance. I like that. Let us dance. So
but it does make an impact, and not always looking for the physical confirmation of just knowing that is just as real, if not more real, and getting used to that outside of the physical form, like Trina says. I went to the Skip the other day. The Skip is like the big refuse place that you take all bulky rubbish and stuff. And I had to do about 7 trips because it was garden stuff. And I'm a regular goer there. And so they know me, but I haven't been for a couple of years. And the last time I was there, I carried chalk around with me most places because I just write out, you're beautiful, you're awesome. If I get stopped by the police, they can't do anything because it's chalk, it's going to wash away. So, and you watch people's reactions and you see them at first sort of look. And some people look so awkward being told they look beautiful today. But then all of a sudden you see that barrier come down and they just walk off with a smile. So this guy, I gave him chalk years ago. I just felt he needed it. And he's a big, burly, strong dude at at this refuse centre, and I gave him a piece of chalk, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm writing a message for you on the skip. And he said, "Okay," looking like I'm a bit crazy. But he took the chalk and had said, "You should write messages," because when he read it, I just said, "You're stronger than you know." And he's ended up going through a lot. And I saw him the last few days ago, and it said, "It's Jenny, isn't it?" And I'd said, "Yeah." And he said, he's lost so much weight. He looks really fit, and he's in his 60s, and he's changed from being quite overweight to being really fit looking, taking 10-15 years off. And said, "I didn't recognize you." And he'd said, "I still buy chalk, And he'd said, "I lost my son-in-law a year ago, and he's got my 9-year-old grandson has been left." And he said it's been such a way to get him to open up after losing his father, writing on chalk with his granddad everywhere he goes, messages that uplift people. And that was one piece of chalk out of my car boot years ago. And that man has gone round changing his life, because then he transformed it into writing into a journal, which I'd advised him to do. And he writes something special to himself every day, even if he's feeling low, he said. And he said it's just rapidly changed his life. His depression has lifted. You can see it in his physical form. He's transformed.
Jenny, I'm going to buy chalk. I'm doing it too. Let's all do it. They're showing me that every time you write those beautiful words on the ground, it goes into the earth. And it heals so many things.
It does, and kids love it. I hand pieces of chalk to kids all the time and say, "Draw smile." Theo loves it. Theo loves chalking with me. And that's where I first started it, with Theo.
I am doing that for every single one of my nieces and nephews and grandchildren. Every single time now, I'm going to give them
I'll let you take over the Facebook page if you want, Trina. I set up a Facebook page, Chalk Me, and I just wanted people to post up different pictures of the things they chalked, or like even messages, stories like that story I've just spoken out. But I just haven't got the time. It's another great idea I had, and then haven't got the time. So you can have that if you want, for people to post up worldwide.
They're like showing me you can grid your whole neighborhood. Your whole neighborhood can be gridded by these words. And it doesn't matter if they're there or not there. It's the energy of when you do the motion and write in cursive if possible, because it's more powerful signals. But they're showing me this is so much more powerful than anybody knows. But you knew, Jenny. You just knew.
Yeah, I wrote chalk on the civic centre during the protest. I started writing chalk messages on the window, cars of the glass window, and the security guards started to get a bit, uppity, and they couldn't do anything. I was like, "Arrest me, it's chalk. It's going to go away with the rain. It's not graffiti. It's not lasting. I'm not hurting the building." They couldn't do anything to me. So I just continued doing smiley faces to them on the window. And they started laughing. All of a sudden, they were really angry at first. And then they couldn't do anything from the other side of the glass. So they started laughing. It broke down the barrier of a couple of angry men, at chalk. So you can have that group if you want, Trina. I'll give you over the admin to it.
Send me the link and I'll post on it. I will definitely do that. Okay. I think it's brilliant. Paul Joe, that's funny. Paul Joe says I'm all chalked up with nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
Well,
everyone send out some energy out to David. David Barry, if you want to come on, let me know. Jenny, I got to ask.
Love you.
You changed headwear, right, during this show?
Yeah, I just took a hood down.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that, it was like there's no missing time. There we go. Thank you.
In and out of the matrix.
Just checking. It's like, no, wait a minute. I knew there was something, it's like, okay.
I knew she was magic. She managed to strip and change.
What? Totally confused, man. Totally confused. Well, all right, ladies, I love y'all. Kaz, anytime if you're still around, if you're not, let me know next week. Loved you. I mean, thank you for empowering all of us. Love it.
You.
Thank you, dear. And make sure to listen to the song. And once I figure out how to get it in there, then we're going to do it. So, all right. Miss Jenny, love you, darling. Always do. Trina, it goes without saying.
Oh, Wayne, I love you too.
I love you, darling. It's like,
and
Chase.
sweet Caroline.
I
will
tell you.
never
Now we all got the song, you know. Thank you.
Yep. Sweet
Yeah.
Caroline. I love it.
That was
I
sung
love
to me
that
all my
song, yeah.
childhood.
Oh,
That song
was
had
it?
a-
I love that song.
I love that song as well.
That's all.
All
I
right,
could hear
everybody.
when I heard it. Sweet Caroline kept coming in. Sweet
Bum,
Caroline.
bum, bum.
I love it.
All right. All right, Soul Tribe, much love to y'all. See you tomorrow with Mr. Ryder Lee. Going to talk about the blood cults. Cults, man. All right.